This is Liz.
This is Jade.
And this is Carly. And you're listening to
Babes
and Babies.
That was a little better.
Was it?
A little bit.
We practiced.
A little bit.
We practiced.
It was still slow, but we were all in sync, so that's nice.
That's true.
We hit the babies.
At least we weren't Backstreet
We nailed
Boys.
that part. All
Well,
right.
hello, girls.
What's up?
I mean, I had a baby.
Nothing new, Just a baby came out of me.
Yeah,
so exciting.
Just a 6 pounds, 8 ounces baby.
Oh, the most precious
Just
little girl in the world.
A tiny little nugget.
Oh my gosh. She's
That is
so
so
sweet.
exciting. She's so
You
cute.
guys.
So
Thank you.
cute.
Congratulations.
I mean, I think so too, but I'm biased,
Yeah, but she's
Yeah.
so sweet. She's so cute. She's so
I can't stop staring at her.
oh my God, I bet. She's so, which I hated when people would tell me this all the time, that your baby's so tiny, but she's so tiny and so just like, she's just a little bundle.
She is so tiny. You know what I also hate, Jade?
What's that?
Not only when people say she's so tiny, when people say she looks just like her daddy.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
so she came out of me.
Right. It's when they say like she's all, like people would be like, she's all Tanner. I'm like,
Yes.
no.
I posted this photo of her next to my baby photo, and like it looks super similar. And people had messaged me, no, comma, she does not look like you. She just looks like Evan.
Oh my God.
Which I don't understand, because I'm like, I'm literally posting a photo of a baby that looks exactly like a baby, and you're telling me my baby looks like an adult man. Like, I don't know how any of this makes any sense, but I'm angry about it.
Oh, man. We are so excited for you to tell us your birth story, though. I cannot wait. I have a lot of questions. And we don't know much about it, guys. So she's going to be,
No.
I
saved
avoided asking questions so that we could ask her on here. But she also has, Carly, who do you have with you today?
I have my sister-in-law, Elizabeth, here. She's a physician's assistant.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
And she's a 6-month-old mom
I have
of a boy.
of a little baby boy.
So she's visiting right now, and I call her, I don't know, probably every day. Just asking
Which
her.
is totally fine, right? I was
All
like,
the
call me
questions.
about everything.
Last night, she swaddled my baby to sleep.
Aww. Oh, that's awesome.
Yes. So if I didn't have Elizabeth, I wouldn't even know what to do. I call her for every medical question about myself, about my recovery, about, hey, my baby's doing this. Is this normal? Like,
Yeah. But I feel like all of us as new time moms, like, have someone like that in our life. Like, even being in the medical profession, I felt like I knew nothing until I went through it.
Yeah, I know. I
Yeah.
can relate to that. Just you have an idea, but then once it happens, you're like, oh my God, I was never,
Yeah.
ever prepared.
Absolutely. Like, there's so many crazy things that happen that you just have no idea.
what shocked you the most about being in the medical field and then going through it? Like, were there things that you were like, oh my gosh, I've told people about this, but I never knew?
Yeah. So I think the biggest shocker for me was how painful labor was. Like, Jade, you are a rock star. I can't even, like, I watched so many births and I was like, I think the women that get epidurals, they're not actually going through the birth experience and they're not going through the emotions and all this stuff. And I was like, I have a high pain tolerance. Like, I got this. Like, I know I'm going to have a 9-pound baby, but I got this. No, when those contractions started, I was like, give me the meds. Give me all of the meds.
Right.
So I oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, but you don't feel like that took away from your birth experience at all, right?
Not at
Right.
all. Not at all.
Which is
like,
great.
that was such a cool thing. Because I remember being on the other side of it and just thinking like, you could do it. You could go through the pain and blah, blah, blah. But it was out of this world, the pain.
I think it, oh man. Oh, hello, Evan. He's bringing us bacon in here right now.
Oh,
Aw.
that's a good man. That is
What
a
a
good man.
husband.
What a doting
He's
husband.
taking care of the
Thank
baby
you.
and still bringing us bacon. But I also think, people say it could take away from the experience, but I also think that it really doesn't, because you're not in pain, so you're so involved in what is happening. Like you're so aware.
Right.
Like it doesn't mess with your head. It just numbs your legs.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
So,
and that was kind of my thing. Afterwards, I felt like I was able to enjoy the birth process. And if I was in like excruciating pain the whole time, I don't know that I would have been able to.
Yeah. But you also, Finn was a big baby.
He was huge.
Yeah. Still so big.
Yeah. He is a monster.
So I think that was definitely a big difference between my birth and your birth, because you birthed this like big baby. Like he was a big boy.
Yeah. Yeah. And he did some damage on the way out.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, man.
But he was worth it, right?
Baby.
He's so adorable.
You can hold that over his head his whole life. You did this to me. I still love you.
And he'll just
So what do you
roll.
think, as being a physician's assistant, because you said like you thought of, you'd see people and you'd be like, oh, you're getting an epidural, really? Like, what are some other things, I guess, that you changed as you had your own experience through it?
Through the labor process,
or just like becoming a new mom?
Becoming a mom.
Yeah.
Just that they're like, we go through school and we learn all these things, and like I can identify a rash and all these different things, but there's so many like little things that happen. Like I think Finn was 5 days old and I had just fed him one morning, and then Zach was changing him, and he turns over and he just throws up blood. Oh. And we're like, what the heck is going on? And Zach looks to me like, okay, you're a physician assistant. Like, you know what to do. And I was like, I have no clue what's going on.
Oh my gosh.
So it turned.
Oh, so did you cry?
Okay. Oh, I freaked.
Oh my
I
gosh.
freaked out. I was like, my baby's dying. Like, what's going on? So we ended up like calling the nurse line, and they told us like, they were like, are your nipples cracked from breastfeeding? And I was like, yeah. So he had been like drinking blood while he was trying to breastfeed and all that stuff. Yeah. So I think just like knowing, there's just so many things, and no one is ever going to know all the things, but just knowing like where your resources are and like who you can call and what you can do has been like a big like eye opener for me. Just because there was like every day there's something new that you have no idea like what to do about
and
it.
every baby is so different. So even
exactly.
Every baby changes week to week. So you're like, oh, I got this down now. And then next week they're different. You're like, oh, this doesn't work anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
and so like in medicine, they teach you kind of like black and white, like if this, then that, and no baby like fits that mold. And so like you just have to go with the flow.
Yeah. I mean, even last night, like Elizabeth, because Bella she keeps staying up from like about 9 till 1:30 in the morning, just screaming, crying. And it's so sad. And Evan and I have like not known what to do. And Elizabeth is like, no, we got this. She's like, we're going to do this swaddle bath. And then we're going to swaddle her. And then we're going to do the 5 S's. Yeah. And then we're going to do, I was like, what are all of these things you're talking about?
What are the 5 S's?
So I forget the doctor's name that like swears by this, but there's 5 S's to like help a colicky baby. So the first is to swaddle, and then you do like this side lying position thing. And then you do this shake. You just kind of like shake their little bodies so their head just kind of goes back and forth a little bit. It kind of mimics like a car seat kind of back shake. Yeah. And then you can have them suck on a pacifier, and then the shh noise. Oh. And so you like this whole combination of things is supposed to really soothe colicky babies.
And it did. It totally worked.
Yeah. So I was like holding Bella. I had her swaddled, side lying, and we were shaking her little head and had a pacifier in her mouth. Yeah. And we got her to calm down.
Yeah. She actually calmed down and fell asleep for a solid 3 hours, and then was up for 2.5. But those 3 hours were well worth it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That worked last night, and who knows if that'll work tonight, just like you were saying, Jade.
Yeah. Does she take a pacifier pretty well?
Only for like a few seconds. She's so small, and I mean, we've tried 3 different pacifiers, but her mouth is so small that I feel like we started using the Soothies predominantly.
That's the one that Emerson likes, but she never started taking a pacifier until she started teething, because now she likes it for her gums.
Gotcha.
But she never was a pacifier baby. So I was just wondering.
Yeah, I would. And it's so funny. Pacifiers are so controversial, I think, anyway. Should you be using them? Shouldn't you? But I mean, when your kid is screaming for 2.5 hours and you're new and you don't know what you're doing, even like 2 minutes of no crying makes you feel better because they aren't crying or in pain or whatever's happening.
I don't think there's anything wrong with a pacifier as long as you're not making them like have a bad habit. But like if it makes them feel like they're like if it can soothe them, like why don't you want to make your baby feel better? You know?
Exactly.
Right.
So
I remember telling you this week, Carly, that like I was so afraid to give Finn a pacifier because of nipple confusion and he wasn't going to breastfeed anymore. And I think I was like a week and a half in and I finally was like, just take the pacifier. And it was like life changing. And I realized it like wasn't a big deal. Like he still continued to breastfeed.
And he still knows that what your nipple is.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, I'd like to pause for a second and tell you about something we all love, and that's FabFitFun. FabFitFun is a seasonal subscription box that contains tons of different full-size beauty, fitness, fashion, and lifestyle products. The spring box is now available for $49.99, and the total retail value of the spring box is a whopping $350. The box contains 4 fashion-forward products to launch your look into full bloom for spring and 7 self-care products for a relaxing night of pampering. I got some great earrings, face lotion, and some awesome guava body butter.
Getting my first FabFitFun box really did feel like Christmas. The packaging is so cute, and it absolutely blew my expectations. They've really stepped up the game for subscription boxes. They work with brands that are really high quality and that people really love. I was surprised to actually see the full-sized products in there. I love trying the different skin products. The jewelry is so cute. It's awesome to have new pieces for each season. And in the last box, the eye mask was absolutely amazing from Free People.
sign up for FabFitFun today to get your spring box. The FabFitFun spring box is in limited supply, and these boxes always sell out. Use our code BABES to get $10 off your first box. Go to fabfitfun.com to sign up and start getting the box for a life well lived. Use promo code BABES to get $10 off your first box. That's over $350 for only $39.99. Go to fabfitfun.com and use my code BABES to get $10 off your first FabFitFun box. I have a question for you, Elizabeth. When you're breastfeeding now, because Emerson's the same age pretty much as Finn, does he does he hurt you now? Like Emerson will like pinch me with her hands.
Oh yeah, he gets his little fingers and like he'll start like pinching my nipples or like pulling on like my skin. Yeah, and he started like he wants to be able to like look around while he's eating, so he'll like start eating and then like pull off really fast.
Yeah, we call that.
Want to come back to it.
We call that niplash.
Yes, that's such a good term for it.
That's hilarious. I'm going to close this door because my baby's crying and I can hear her.
Oh.
No, it's okay.
Thinking about niplash makes my nipples hurt. Yeah. So one time, I this is kind of an embarrassing story, but I've had a lot of friends who have breastfed and gone through the process and done all of that, you know, and obviously you don't know what breastfeeding feels like till you do it. But I was at my friend Lindsay's house and she had a breast pump and I was like, all right, I'm just going to try it a little bit. And so I put it on the lowest setting. And I just remember it like sucked my entire boob into it. And it was the most painful thing ever. And I was like, I don't know how breastfeeding moms do it. And she's like, well, first of all, you don't have any milk in your boobs. So I was like, this is true.
Did you have it like cranked up or?
No, I did on the lowest setting and it hurt so bad. So
it is a super weird feeling.
I don't like, so I always love hearing about people's like breastfeeding and stuff. Like as a new time mom, Elizabeth, did Finn latch right away or did you have any struggles?
So we did have some breastfeeding struggles at the beginning. So he, I guess it's common with big babies, they come out and their blood sugar can be low. And so like I did like the skin to skin and then they immediately took him and gave him to Zach and was like, give him this bottle of formula because we need to bring his his blood sugar up. And so then he wanted to sleep for like 24 hours. He just didn't want to nurse at all, but they were so worried about his sugar going back low. So there was all this like pressure on me trying to feed him. And they hooked me up to a pump like that first night to try to get my milk to come in. Yeah. Wow. And like my nipples were already like cracked and bruised by the time I left the hospital.
Oh
so then when we got home, And like about 5 days in, he started doing this cluster feeding thing. I think just trying to like soothe himself and suck. And that's when it got really bad and the whole like throwing up blood thing happened. So I think he was about a week old. I went in to see a lactation consultant and she gave me a nipple shield. And that was life changing. So I like, once I got that, we literally used the nipple shield until probably 2 weeks ago. And he would just nurse with the nipple shield.
That's amazing. But he is so big. Like, if I try to use a nipple shield with Bella, it wouldn't fit in her mouth.
Yeah.
Well, they have different sizes, I think. But
they do?
Yeah, I think because every woman's nipples are different, too. So they have...
That's very true.
Yeah.
But yeah, that, and everyone was telling me, like, oh, you're not supposed to use it, like, forever. It's just like, it's supposed to be for, like, a week, a short-term remedy. But if that was like what enabled us to be able to breastfeed for this long, then like
totally,
who cares?
Yeah, I completely agree. You got to do what you got to do to make your baby healthy and happy. Yeah. That's what I say.
Word.
I did skin to skin, and then she latched like immediately and started breastfeeding. But my supply is super low. So I'm making lactation bites today as Elizabeth.
Oh, fun!
Yeah,
I used to make those in the beginning. I loved it.
Yeah, and I have that like tea that I should start drinking.
I drink that at like almost every day.
But I have had huge breastfeeding struggles already, like engorged breast. Mm-hmm. One of my breasts now looks deflated, and one is giant. And last week the other one was giant.
Sexy.
So. Yeah, and it's like I've tried to pump and literally it's drops. Like it's like nothing. So
I think that's kind of normal in the beginning though.
In the beginning,
so, yeah. I know that like I feel like there's a lot of pressure on women to like pump like tons of milk. But they're saying like if you're getting at least like in the beginning, your milk's still kind of coming in, Carly. I think you're trying to get it like regulated. Your body's trying to figure that out. But if you're pumping anywhere between like 1 to 2 ounces per session per boob, like that's enough. Like women think they need to like they have these giant bottles attached. You think, oh my gosh, I have to fill the full 5 ounces. But
no.
Well, like last night I did like almost an ounce, and then this morning, I mean, it was like 1/4 of an ounce. So I know they say pump different times a day. I just want to be able to have like a bottle on hand just in case. Like at night, I'm like, Evan, just can you feed her a bottle? You know, I don't need it for anything else other than just like, I'd like to have something every day as a safety precaution.
Yeah.
You know,
but she's so tiny, her stomach probably can't hold more than an ounce at this point. Yeah. Anyway.
That's very true.
No, I agree, Jade. I think a lot of women have a lot of pressure to be able to pump a bunch. And sometimes it takes a while for women's milk supply to come in, and then they feel bad if they have to supplement or whatever. But a lot of women have to do that. I know a lot of women who've had to do that, and it helps because then the pressure's off and their baby's getting fed or, you know, and, but I mean, if you have enough to feed her, that's awesome. I've had a few friends who have had oversupplies and they're just like,
oh man,
that was me.
Yeah. Gosh,
that's
good
awesome.
for you, Jade.
Feeding a village over there.
Actually, it wasn't good. Did
you feel super engorged?
Well, no, it wasn't that problem, but it's because I had too much fore milk. So Emerson was getting full. She was getting full on the fore milk, and then that was actually making her colicky. And so then she would spit it all up because she wasn't. The hind milk is like the thicker, fattier milk, and that's so she was just getting full on that. And then I had to like express, like I had to pump for the first 2 minutes to get my fore milk out, and then put her on the boob every time I was nursing. Now I'm regulated.
That's exhausting.
My gosh. Yeah. Bella threw up like almost projectile vomited last night, all over me. All over my hair. You guys, I have throw up in my hair right now.
Mom life. You're living that mom life.
Mom mode. I don't even care about it.
At least it doesn't really smell yet, you know, because it's just breast milk.
Yeah. That's true. But her poop smell, I tell you what.
Well, we were in the car yesterday, and I think Zach or Evan was like, somebody pooped. I know. We had to like figure out which baby it was.
We're like, well, it might have been one of the boys farting, actually.
Yeah. But going back to what you said, Liz, about like the supplementing, when I went back to work, because I'm a working mom, my supply, I was trying to pump and keep up, and Finn is huge, so he could eat like 6 to 8 ounces in a setting when he was 3 months old. And so we started having to supplement with formula, but I was so stressed out about it. It didn't feel natural to me. And I was so upset that we were having to do that. But ultimately it was like, he needed to be fed and I needed to be sane and we needed to just get through the day. So
good for you.
So he's still, he gets breast milk, but he does get a bottle of formula a day just because I can't keep up.
And you have him on like dairy-free formula, right?
Yeah. So that was the other thing is he had some reflux and some colicky stuff early on. And so I just cut out dairy totally from my diet. And so now he's on Nutramigen or something, just like the dairy-free formula, which smells like really disgusting. It smells like goldfish crackers. But whatever works.
Oh, man.
I was using the Ava bracelet just to track my cycle, not specifically trying to get pregnant. But Ava tipped me off that something unusual is going on because I noticed that my temperature and my heart rate and my breathing rate were all higher than normal. It's been so cool to watch the fluctuations in my body through my Ava data. When I'm ready for number 2, I'm definitely planning on using Ava to help make sure the next one happens exactly on the timeline I want. So go to avawomen.com, AVAWOMEN.com, and enter the promo code AVABABES, AVABABES for $20 off at avawomen.com.
I do think that the information collected by Ava is really helpful and it's really easy to use too.
Yes, I totally agree. It taught me so much. If you do try Ava, please do let us know what you thought. Okay, what's next?
Speaking of goldfish crackers. Oh, sorry. I was going to say I was sitting on Ainsley's bed. We're sitting on Ainsley's bed right now in his room because he's not here. And there were goldfish crackers all over this bed this morning.
Oh my gosh.
Gosh, what's happening in this room? And a little bitty pretzel loaf of bread. And I'm like, what is happening in this room?
Did he sleep in that bed last night?
No, they're at their mom's house this week, but he sleeps in his brother's room. He just like hangs out in his room.
Gotcha.
But,
Thank God you had a girl to counteract all the boys.
I told her that this morning. I was like, thank you for being a girl. It's so funny.
That's funny. Go ahead, Liz.
Oh, no, you go.
No, you go.
Shall we do?
You go.
I'll go. Shall we ask Elizabeth bad moms? What are we calling this segment, Jade?
I think we should call it mom fails and mom wins because we want to share moments because we've all messed up, we've all made mistakes, we all have been bad moms at one point because like you said, it's just this huge learning curve and we don't know what we're doing in the beginning. So we all just want to share something that, we can all be comrades and together, something just like a funny story. And then also like a time where you're like, yeah, I was a badass at this. Something like that.
So let me think. My bad moms, I'll start with the bad, right?
Yeah.
So I've got like a couple of things probably.
Okay.
I think my biggest bad mom thing, and it's not like a specific story, but it's just like a thing that I do. I don't think I have ever like sanitized a bottle or a nipple or a pacifier. Like I clean it. I wash it with soap and water, but I just don't buy into like the whole sanitizing thing.
Which is so funny because you're a doctor.
I mean, so if somebody's like sneezing behind us in church, I'm going to like freak out and put a blanket over my baby. But like if his pacifier falls on the floor, it's going back in his mouth. I'm not going to clean it off.
Totally been there.
So
totally been there.
Probably like my biggest. And like yesterday we were eating lunch and we had Finn in a high chair for the first time. And I look over and he's like gumming on the edge of this table. I was like, whatever, like do your thing. So that's probably like my biggest bad mom thing is I just don't buy into the whole sanitation.
That's funny.
It's funny though, because I feel like for a first-time mom, that's usually not true. That's usually like on kid number 3 or 4, where they're like, "I don't care. I don't care."
Yeah. So my dad actually gave me this book while I was pregnant. It's called "Let Them Eat Dirt."
Yes.
And it just talks about like promoting like the healthy, like normal flora in a baby and how we don't have to like over sanitize. And so I just
your dad's also a doctor.
Yeah, my dad's a doctor. So it was. I just kind of like latched onto that, and I was like, yeah, like let kids be kids, let them like play in the dirt and blah blah blah. So So that's probably my biggest bad mom thing. I mean, we've had tons of blowouts. We had a blowout in a bar one day. So like
In a bar. Oh, that's a good bad mom.
We have been there. But yeah, that's probably my biggest one. And then the biggest mom win. That's a hard one. Maybe like the first time he slept through the night. That's a cool feeling.
Yeah.
But it like happened and then never happened again. I don't think it was anything that I did. That's a good one. And then like two weeks ago, I got home from work. My mom watches him while I go to work. So I'm really, really blessed for that. But I got home from work and he like reached for me for the first time.
Oh my gosh. That's
So that
so
was
cute.
a really cool moment.
That's
that,
so
like
sweet.
he knew who I was. Cause I think when I went back to work, I was really anxious about him, like not knowing who his mom was, as crazy as that sounds, but just like he was going to be with someone else
That
for the
doesn't sound
majority of
crazy.
the waking hours. And I really, really struggled with that going back to work. And so to know that like he still knows who I am. And at the end of the day, like he still wants to come back to me was like a really, really cool feeling.
He loves his mommy.
I'm going to
That's so cute.
get emotional talking about
Oh
it.
my gosh, she is. She's tearing up. It's so cute.
I do feel like that's like a huge struggle that a lot of moms who go back to work deal with, though.
Yes.
Yeah, because you.
I remember. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was say because you have this bond with your baby, and you hope that like you continue to grow with that bond, and that they don't. Yeah, that they don't forget you.
Yeah. I remember like it was probably 2 or 3 days before I was going back to work, and I was up at 3 a.m, just like nursing him, and I was just Googling like, will my baby remember me when I go back to work? And there was just so many moms on, different sites that went through the same thing. So it was cool to like be able to know that I wasn't alone and know that like we would get through it and blah, blah, blah.
That's why we have this podcast,
Yeah,
Elizabeth.
no. Like the first time I listened to y'all, I was so excited just because it's such a positive and encouraging group of women. And that's what everybody needs when you're like up at all hours of the night and have no idea what you're doing. And you just need people to help and be encouraged.
Totally. I've even looked at our Facebook group and been like, oh my gosh, I have that question. What are all these answers?
Oh,
like,
me too.
I think
yeah.
the other day I went in the search function and I was like, cold weather gear for babies or something.
Yeah.
And all this stuff popped up. I was like, oh, I don't even have to ask. It's
It's
already
so
here.
It's really cool. I do feel like we're all holding hands and like helping each other out, which is amazing because I need a lot of help right now.
Carly, do you feel like you've had a mom fail so far?
I think I've had all of them. I mean,
No.
also Bella peed in Evan's mouth the other day.
She peed on herself.
She
the
peed all
other
over herself and
day.
was sitting in a puddle of pee. I'm like, oh gosh.
Isn't it crazy that you don't think, because they always say, oh, little baby boys, you got to watch out. But in the beginning, little girls, they projectile
They let it
pee.
go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Finn peed in his own mouth multiple times. Like,
Mom failed.
yeah, mom failed. There's another one.
Oh my gosh. Well, Elizabeth, thank you so much for coming on our
Thank y'all
podcast.
for having me.
Thank you.
Absolutely. It was good to talk to y'all.
All right. See you later.
See ya.
Oh wait, you're staying in my house.
I'll go take care of Bella.
Oh yeah, Elizabeth's taking care of Bella because the guys are going to a hockey game.
Oh, nice.
Bye.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
So I sat down last week and thoroughly enjoyed my first glass of wine in quite some time, and it was lovely. When I choose my wine, I never really knew what to go for. Of course, I know what types I enjoy, but I'm always looking for something new and to try things I haven't tasted before. Fortunately, Bright Cellars is the monthly wine subscription that matches you to a wine based on your taste preferences, which is really cool.
Right. You start by taking a simple short quiz. It asks questions like, what type of chocolate do you like? And what's your favorite juice? Then their awesome taste algorithm will recommend top 4 wines from around the world that you're most likely to enjoy. I mean, what's better than that?
Nothing is better than that. I got some great wine recommendations that both me and Tanner enjoyed. Because Bright Cellars is our new sponsor, we have a great discount for your first wine shipment. Go to brightsellars.com/babes to see your wine matches and for 50% off your first wine order. That's bright like the light bulb, cellar like a wine cellar.com/babes for 50% off your wine matches. brightsellers.com/babes. You're welcome. Okay, you guys, now for the moment I've been waiting for like 10 days, and
Me
I'm sure
too.
you all, I know, I'm sure you all are dying to hear too. We are presenting you with Carly's birth story. So I'm just going to kind of
I just got chills when you said that, by the way.
I'm like, I've been smiling this whole podcast episode because I'm so excited. So I'm just going to kind of let you take the floor, and we'll chime in, I guess, a little bit, but mostly I just want to hear how it happened.
Oh my gosh. Well, so this is what I found out about my child so far. So I'm like a perfectionist when it comes to like being on time. Like if I'm like a couple minutes late to something, like I feel super bad. And so like Evan already knows, like I'm in the car, like ready to go. Like we have to get there on time. So I've decided that Bella is the exact same way. Because we were supposed to go in to actually induce at 5:30 in the morning. We were supposed to be at the hospital. And I ended up sleeping in the guest room because the night before I was like, Evan wanted to watch TV. And I'm like, okay, well, I really need a good night's sleep. So I'm just going to go sleep in the guest room. And then I'll see you at 4:45 in the morning.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, sounds good. So I go in the guest room, fall asleep. At like 3:30 in the morning, I start having like, I don't know if it was a contraction, but like pain. And I'm like, okay, well, that hurts. But it was nothing timeable. So I was like, this isn't contraction. So then by like 4:30, I'm laying there. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to get up, whatever. So I go to the bathroom and it's like, whoosh, in the toilet. And I'm like, oh my God, I think my water broke. I'm like, no way. I'm about to go induce this child right now. And they're about to go break my water. And she's already like, no, I'd prefer to do it myself.
She's like, I got you, Mom.
Totally.
Oh my gosh.
I know. It was so wild. So I walk in, I like clean myself up kind of. Obviously, like I put a pad on. And I walk into the room and I'm like, Evan, I think my water broke. And he's like, what? And he's like, what time is it? And I'm like, 4:40. And he's like, what? Our alarm goes off at 4:45. I was like, what incredible timing she has. So I mean, it was so crazy. And then my doctor had texted us the night before and he was like, hey, the hospital is pretty busy. So just so you know, they may turn you away and make you come back later.
Oh my gosh.
And so we were like, oh man, that's going to suck so bad. But they can't turn you away when your water breaks.
Right.
So we were like, this is incredible. So I get to the hospital and they're like, a few people in the waiting room, clearly there to like induce their kids. And the lady's like, are you sure your water broke? And like right when she's saying that, I'm like walking down the hall and it's like gushing.
Oh man.
And I'm like, yeah, so I'm gushing right now. So I probably need to get into a room like faster than slower. So that was pretty crazy. I just thought it was so funny because I was like, oh my gosh, you already have like my timing down.
Were you having contractions at this point, or was it just your water broke?
I wasn't. Yeah. No, it was just like, and what shocked me is I thought when your water broke, it broke like so much and you were sitting in a puddle. And mine wasn't like that. It was like bursts at a time.
Me too. Yeah.
Okay. So I was like, you never know. Like I feel like in movies, there's a puddle under them.
I think it is like that for some women.
For some people?
Yeah.
But I also think I was laying down and then I sat up. So maybe it was just like it needed to. Anyway, that's kind of gross. But so then we get into the room and they're like, okay, well, let me check you. I was at like 2.5 centimeters. And then she's like, okay, well, I'm going to start you on Pitocin. So she obviously puts my IV in and she's like, I'd rather, since you're not having contractions, let's get contractions started. I'm like, okay. So she starts me on Pitocin and obviously like it hurts.
Yeah.
So my contractions start and I'm like, oh, this sucks. And Evan's like, don't be a hero, Carly. Get the epidural faster. And I'm like, no. I was like, I want to be able to see what this pain is like a little bit. Well, and then I'll do it.
I've heard Pitocin contractions though are much more intense than if you don't. Yeah, because it's giving you like an extra dose of all the hormones. It's like, isn't it like a synthetic hormone? So I heard that it actually is more intense than if you didn't.
They hurt.
Yeah.
They hurt a lot.
But you let yourself feel them for a little bit.
Yeah, I did. I think I did it for maybe an hour and 15 minutes. And then finally I was like, it was funny because Elizabeth was the person who was like, get an epidural as soon as you want to. And so I was like, okay, Elizabeth did it, so I can do it.
Yeah.
And so finally she was like, okay, I'm going to turn the Pitocin up because I was at 4 centimeters. And then I was like, okay, before you do that, let's go for the epidural. Because I was already in so much pain. I couldn't imagine turning it up and being in more pain without it. So she turns it up. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'll nap. And one of our friends was in the waiting room. So she's like, hey, can I come in and say hi? So I was like, yeah, sure. That's a good distraction from what's happening right now. Also, I was shocked that the epidural did not hurt at all.
Oh, that's great.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I was scared of the needle. And the needle, they put numbing spray on. And the numbing spray for 10 seconds is like the only thing that hurts. Can't feel the needle at all. And then the only thing that was really weird was they had me lay on my side. So then my like bottom leg that was on the bed was getting super numb and the other one wasn't.
Oh.
So then I had to roll over, but I couldn't roll over because I couldn't use my leg. So I had like my friend Lydia holding one arm and Evan was pushing my body over to the other side.
That's so funny.
Oh gosh. It was a mess. But so my friend comes in and she's hanging out with us for till about 12 o'clock. And she's like, so how are you feeling? Like, are you feeling any different? And I said, I'm feeling like pressure, but I wouldn't say like it's like not contractions. I don't know. It's fine. I think, I think I'll just take a nap. And she's like, okay, well, when, the nurse comes back in, you should just tell her you feel pressure down there, blah, blah, blah. So the nurse comes like directly in. I'm like, hey, I'm feeling a little bit of pressure down there, but I don't know, I've never done this before. And she's like, okay, well, do you want me to check you? Because the doctor's supposed to be here at like 12:30 or something to check you. And I'm like, you can go ahead. Like, I don't have a preference of who goes down there.
Yeah.
And so she goes down there, checks, and her face like did this, oh my God thing, like kind of panicky. And she just looks at me and she looks at Evan and she's like, okay, I got to go. I got to call the doctor right now. You're at 9 centimeters and you're going to have to start pushing like really soon.
Wow.
And we're like, what? Yeah. So I'm looking at Evan like in a total panic. And my friend Lydia is like, so I'm going to get out of the room. And they, roll in the whole cart and everything was happening so fast. And so the doctor got there in like maybe 20 minutes and walks in and he's like, what, do you think this is your 5th baby or something? Because the whole thing had just gone, I mean.
Yeah, how many hours? How many hours were you in labor at this point?
So I started, I guess my water broke probably around 4:30 in the morning. And then I needed to start pushing at 12:30 in the afternoon.
So fast. Yeah.
That's really quick for a first time.
Super, super fast.
Yeah.
And she was already like really low. So you could just tell she was like, again, like she was just ready to greet the world. She was like, I don't care about your timing. You say that I'm going to come at 5 o'clock. No, I'm going to come at 12,
yeah,
I can already tell this child is in mind of her own. She's so in charge and she doesn't care what anybody else thinks. She's like, no, I'm going to do it my way. So yeah, at that point, the doctor came in and he's like, okay, you can start pushing. And I'm like, okay, remind me how to do that. So she said, I had been asking people, I know I asked you guys, like how you're supposed to push.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember, so the doctor or the nurse said, push like you're having a bowel movement.
Right.
And I remember I know you guys were telling me that it was like more forward of a push or something.
Or like low moaning, like low, like they call it bearing down. So it's like, yeah, it's kind of like if you're trying to really push a poop out.
So someone told me push from your abs. I know that sounds really weird, but my feet were up. So I was like pushing more forward from my abs and like towards the ceiling kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And like she was coming out so fast, and the lady was like, "You're the second best pusher I've ever," and I feel like I won an award. You're second best pusher I've ever seen. The first one, and she goes, "It must be because you're athletic."
You're like,
I was like,
yeah.
I was like, yeah, that ain't it.
That's your mom win, Carly. You're the
Oh my
best
gosh,
pusher.
She said the only other person that's pushed that well was a like a dance instructor or something, a bar class
my
teacher.
goodness.
And I was like, yes.
Kegel's on point.
I mean, I really did feel like that was a major win. So then like, this is the funny part of my birth story, which actually isn't funny, and everyone's going to be like, oh, sick, but I don't really care. So the doctor finally comes over after I've been like pushing a while, and he's the coolest doctor ever, by the way. He came in and hung out with us for like the solid hour I was pushing, he was in there just hanging out. He was making like business calls, doing some emails, like making some jokes. I love this guy. So he comes over and he hasn't even changed into like his scrubs yet, right? He's just like kind of coming over to like inspect. He has gloves on and he's like not touching me or anything. He's just kind of standing there. And I projectile peed on him. And I thought it was my amniotic fluid or something that was spraying. And he jumps out of the way, not even in scrubs. And he goes, whoa. And Evan goes, oh my God, you peed on him. And I was like, oh no. I was like, that was pee? I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
That's amazing. Did it get his face? Like,
no.
Okay.
But I mean, I don't know how much I got on his clothes. But, I mean, it was a lot of pee. Oh, and then I lost control of my bladder for the next, I don't know, week. And I literally was just, if I moved forward, I would just pee into my pad. Another fun part of the story. But, no, it was hilarious. Because all of us were just like, oh, my gosh. But I didn't poop, which I thought I was going to poop. And I didn't poop, but I did projectile pee. I mean, it was like, yeah, it was really gross. So then after that happened, I was pushing and pushing, and then you could see like the head was out, almost out. And he said you could see him kind of get a little panicky, and he was like, "Okay, Carly, I really need you to push, like, and just don't stop." And I'm like, "Okay." And so he saw the cord was wrapped around her neck, so he basically had to like put his hands in there. And which made me tear, and I had to get 2 stitches. Ooh. But I mean, get her out. So, and then he pulls her out, and she's pretty purple. And he's like, "You're strong, you're strong, you're strong." And they sucked both nostrils, and then sucked her mouth, and then finally she started crying. But it was pretty scary there for a while, because I mean, I saw them pull her out, and then she just wasn't crying, and we're like, okay, and her hands were totally purple and her coloring was really weird. And you could tell that the doctor was like, not like panicked, but like, okay, we got to get this baby out as soon as possible. Yeah. So that was really scary. And then they handed her really quick to Evan, and he went over and weighed her. And then they put her on me for like 45 minutes. And right when she was crying, and they like were handing her to me, and I was like, "Hi, Bella." And she looked directly into my eyes and stopped crying. Like, it was the craziest thing. It was like this connection that we had. Like, she was like, "Oh my gosh, I know that voice." And like, when I looked at her, I was like, "Oh my gosh, like she knows me." And then they put her on me. She didn't cry one more time until like we moved to the other room. Like, she was so calm. It was unbelievable. Like,
I'm over here crying.
Yeah, me too. We're both cheering.
What's so crazy is my mom said that she had that exact same moment with me. She's told me that my whole life, that when so my aunt held me first, and then she handed her to my mom, and she said, "Hi, Carly." And she said I looked her directly in the eyes, and she's never forgotten that. And I'm like, "Mom, I had the exact same moment with Bella." Like, she stared into my soul. Like, it was so wild.
That's so
Like,
beautiful.
She imprinted on you.
Oh my gosh. I was like, you know me. It's so weird too, because they come out and you're like, so that's what you look like. Like, you've just been in there and I've been wondering, and this is what you look like. And she's just so cute.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. Like, they get cuter like every single day.
Oh
like,
my gosh.
I mean, honestly, like, you don't know until you know, but that love that you feel is so, there's nothing like it. Like, my love for Evan is so different than your love for this baby. I mean, the connection is, there's no words to describe it. It's like unreal. Yeah, it's just, it's the wildest thing. So actually I'd say the birth was pretty easy. It was super fast. She was ready to greet the world, and
No complications, which is amazing.
no complications except for, I have another gross part, but you know what? This is a women's podcast. So my hemorrhoids are horrible.
Aye.
And they run in my family. So my mom said when she had me, they were like hers were grape sized.
Oh, ouch.
And sorry, Mom. And so mine were not grape sized, but getting there. And so that actually is the most painful part of all of it, were my hemorrhoids.
Can they cauterize those, or how do you treat that?
You can have surgery, but they can come back. So my doctor was just like, they gave me, medicine. I had been using medicine in my last trimester anyway on them, but in recovery, they won't let you put medicine directly on there. So you have to put like the steroid on a Tux pad on your pad. So it doesn't even like get on you. I'm like, that gets on your butt crack. That doesn't even get inside. So,
yeah.
But that really has been the worst part. And I know everyone's scared of their like first poop after they have a baby.
Oh man.
And thinking about that with really bad hemorrhoids is one of the scariest thoughts in your whole life, because it just makes it 100,000 times. You're already in so much pain right there, and then it makes it worse.
Can we talk about that for a moment? So when I was in the hospital, they tried to make me poop.
Sorry.
They were like,
they made Elizabeth poop.
Okay, did they try to make you? Because I told them, because I had a midwife, and so I was like, listen, I'm not supposed to be in this hospital, so I don't have a doctor here, so I'm not.
Yeah.
They wanted to give me laxatives. I'm like, I'm not taking them because I'm not ready to poop. Like,
right.
I was so scared. But I guess they try to like make you.
Yeah, they made me get up and pee, making sure I could walk around on my own before we even went to the recovery room, just because of my legs being numb. But they did not make me poop, and I'm wondering if it's because my hemorrhoids were so bad that they're like, I don't want to make that worse.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you heard of wiping with witch hazel for hemorrhoids?
Well, I have. They won't let me wipe at all. I can only use the Perry bottle. So
can you
I have
dab?
the Tux pads. They say I can like pat dry. But yeah, I mean, it's so like, I'm like, how are you even really supposed to get clean down there? But I have made those witch hazel. I've used witch hazel, aloe, and lavender drops on pads and froze them.
Mm-hmm.
And that helps. I have the Tux pads that are witch hazel pads.
I love those.
That definitely help. But I haven't and I have like a spray that's like Mama's something type of spray that's like a natural spray that kind of cools and helps. But I haven't like wiped anything yet, because it's still bad down there. But it's funny because I can't. That's so bad that the stitches are not so bad. So that's kind of crazy. But yeah. So the recovery, that's the only thing that's been hard about that, body wise. And then the breastfeeding is like blah.
Yeah. Well, you said that she latched right away, but then you said like you had one boob big, the other one deflated. Tell us a little bit about your breastfeeding with her.
So Evan, he called himself the lactation consultant in the hospital and he would help me. He would squeeze my boob and like help me get it in her mouth. So it was always like a team effort. And it was funny because then we got home and he's like, "You don't need me anymore." I'm like, "No, I don't." But so at first she was fine. In the hospital, she was feeding and it was fine. And then for a while, like she just didn't want my right boob. And so, at the beginning, you're like, okay, well, I guess you can have the left one. And so then the right one just got so swollen and so engorged and just, it was rock solid and there was nothing I could do. So finally, I started like warm compresses. I started taking like a warm shower. And then I did like ibuprofen. And then I would do a cool compress after she nursed. And in like 2 or 3 days, the swelling started to go down. But even now it's switched to the other side and my left boob is really hard. And now my right one looks like just deflated. I'm like, it is the hardest thing. You don't know if your baby's getting enough food.
I know.
Because you can't freaking see it. And my child keeps like throwing up. I did cut out dairy, but like, and I'm obviously gluten-free, but I'm like, okay, what else am I supposed to be cutting out? Because something in here you don't like.
Soy. Sometimes
soy.
Sometimes babies who have, because in dairy, it's not the lactose. It's the protein. And so sometimes the soy protein will have like this because it kind of has the same effect.
Okay.
So don't like substitute your dairy proteins with soy proteins.
With some. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I honestly think that like breastfeeding is the only time I've cried since I've gotten home. And the only time I've been like super mean to Evan. Well, not super mean, but I've been mean to Evan because, he comes over and he's like patting me like, it's going to be okay. And I'm like, that doesn't help me. I'm panicking because I don't know if my baby's getting enough food.
I know what you mean.
But it's like, like your baby's crying and then, it wants to cluster feed. And the next day she wants to sleep all day. And then she slept all day. So then she's up all night. And I don't know how many, like they say 2 to 3 hours, but then we go to the pediatrician and he's like, well, if she can like try to make it 2 to 3 hours, I'd say more towards 3. And then at night more towards 4 or 5. And I'm like, what? Like she wants to eat all the time. Like it's so confusing. And I just don't, everybody obviously has to go through this confusing part, but it's super hard and frustrating and scary. And yeah, because you want your baby fed and you don't know if they're getting fed. Or it's like,
well, that's why you can definitely measure by wet and poopy diapers at least. So, so if she for all of a sudden isn't like producing any diapers, then that's when you should be concerned.
Okay. Well, she's definitely producing those. Her dirty diapers are intense.
That's good though.
That is good. But yeah, and even like, last night when she like projectile threw up on me. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, like, so I didn't feed her after that. She finally fell asleep and then she fell asleep for like 4 hours. And I'm like, okay, I need to wake her up because they say that they can get dehydrated. And I'm like, she already threw up everything. So it's just, this is really hard, you guys. Like the beginning is so hard. And I know there's going to be a lot of other hard things, but it really is like, so it's that the screaming from 9 to 1:30 in the morning has me and Evan like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Like, because what do you do? We've tried all of the things. Last night was the first night that she's been sort of calm. So I think we're going to try the bath thing and the swaddle thing and just keep that going.
I really just think it's because she doesn't know whether it's day or night yet. Like they just don't have that what do you call it? Clock? I don't know what it's called.
Yes.
Well, they say like when the baby's actual, like their clock is kind of opposite when they come out, because when you're up during the day and moving around, it's kind of like rocking them. You're moving around and it's rocking them to sleep. And so then that's why sometimes when you're pregnant and at night, when you settle down and you're, eating dinner, getting ready for the night, they tend to be more active. I never thought
about that.
Yeah. So they're kind of almost opposite because they're used to being rocked all day,
They're nocturnal.
They're nocturnal when they come out, but then their clock's adjusting,
Okay. Yeah.
She'll figure it out. I think like the first 2 months for me was just like a total fog because because you aren't getting more than, I mean, you got 6 hours of sleep though, which is amazing, but
it's amazing.
You're not on a regular schedule of sleep yourself. But they figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, also, Evan is the best dad that there ever was. I mean, not only does he just adore this little girl, but he is so in control. He is like, anytime she cries, give her to me, I'll do it. Like, he is that. He sometimes is like the mom, and I'm more like the dad. He is. He's like Mr. Mom. I mean, he knows how to do everything because he's done it before.
Yeah, that helps a lot.
Yeah, and he's so involved. He wants to calm her down. He wants to do skin to skin. You know, it's not like a chore to him. He loves it. He wants to be as close to her as possible. He wants to cuddle with her and look her in the eye and sing her songs and like really be like her best bud, you know? And so it was really actually funny one day. He goes, man, I wish I could nurse. What a beautiful bonding experience. And I was like, man, I wish you could nurse too. That'd be way easier for me. But like, you know, he just comes over and like looks at us and he's like, oh, my 2 girls, you know? I mean, if I did not have him, I do not know what I would do. Like, I'm finally at the point at night that I handle like the night by myself, which has been for probably the past 3 or 4 nights. I let him sleep, and then in the morning he'll let me sleep like an extra 2 hours. But I don't know what I would do if, you know, if he had to go, like, because I mean he can go to work when he wants to because he's the boss. So he did take this week off, and I know that like some days next week he'll be able to go in. Hi, Emmy.
I know, you guys, if you hear some heavy breathing, it's because I'm nursing Emerson right now. I'm like, I think that's getting picked up on the mic, but
it's really cute though. But yeah, I'm so lucky that he is the father of this little girl, because not only is she gonna be daddy's girl and like just adore him, but he is just so helpful. Like, it's unbelievable.
So I have a question. What's your guys' plan? Is he, I mean, like with his job, is he able to kind of just plan a couple days and be out of town or go to work and then be home with you a couple days? Or how is that going to work for you guys?
You know, I actually am not really sure. He just opened a new clinic in Baton Rouge. So the clinic opened last week, and he's never not been at an opening. So this has been a really stressful week for him for work, but he can do everything through the phone. But obviously it's better if he goes into like the Nashville clinic.
Sure.
So I think he'll probably do maybe like a half day in the clinics for a while. And then, because I mean, I'm still scared to like have her alone with me like the whole day. And I know, Jade, you had to. I mean, Tanner has to be at work.
Yeah.
And most stay-at-home moms, like, they just have to do it. But I'm like really scared.
No, I remember crying because Tanner took a week off. That included the 2 nights that we had to stay in the hospital.
Oh,
and I was so like upset with his work. But they're great. But I was really just like, why can't you stay another week? I don't get it. They know this is your first kid.
Right.
But it all worked out. But I just remember crying because of it.
Yeah. And but I like Evan needs to go to Baton Rouge to go to his like clinic, but I told him he can't do any overnight trips yet, which I think is fair.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you can go somewhere during the day, but like overnight, like I can't handle someone not being there right now.
Well, think about it. Because you're still healing, what if you had an emergency? What if something happened with your body?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can already tell, like yesterday we, went out to lunch in downtown Franklin, which is this cute little downtown area. And I walked too much. So then I got home and I was bleeding too much, and I've just been pushing myself too hard, but it doesn't feel like I'm pushing myself too hard. It feels like I'm being normal. I'm not good at like sitting still and being like, I need to take it easy. I have to clean the house and I have to do all these things, because if not, it drives me crazy that the house isn't clean. So I need to relax and tell myself, hey, you gave birth last week, but it's really hard for me to do.
Yeah, take care of yourself, girlfriend.
I know.
Put a movie on, light some candles.
Ooh, that sounds really nice, actually.
Cuddle your baby.
But yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh, and we had the boys this week for like half the week. Their grandmother took them for the other half, but we felt so bad because she was like, you know, crying all night, and they have school, and they're like, we heard the baby all night, and we're like, sorry, we don't know how to calm her down.
Oh man, what is
Sorry,
the thing,
kids.
like? What's the thing that you're most excited about now that she's in the world with you?
Well, one thing, having Finn here, like my brother's kid, he's so big. He's like 20 pounds, you know, and she's 7. But I'm excited for her to get a little bit bigger because then I won't feel like she's so fragile. You know, that part is like, I'm like, oh my gosh, just gain a few more pounds. So then I won't feel like you have to be so careful, you know? Because her arm is like the size of my thumb, you guys. It's so small. Like, it's really crazy. But I think we've already had a lot of fun, like, dressing up and, like, matching. And I have, obviously, like, a plethora of clothes and bows and hats. And so every time, like, we go out or people come over, like, I have a really fun time dressing her up. So that's been like my favorite thing. And like, I'll come in with like her in this, you know, faux fur jacket. And Evan's like, oh my gosh, yes. and her outfits like never even match. They're like all these different patterns and they're just like a total disaster, but they're so funny. And I don't know. I just love it. One day she's going to look back and be like, what was that outfit? And I'm going to be like, I don't even know, but it's so cute. So that's my favorite thing so far, I think, is like dressing her up. And then I actually like the moments at night that are really like low lit. You know, we have a rock lamp in my room. And so the moments that like we just, you know, sit there and kind of look at each other. And even though she might be crying or whatever, those moments are like really sweet that I know that I'll remember. Yeah. Like, oh, this is where we like really bonded and connected. And
you know what's really weird that I'm going to tell you, but because I've already experienced this, it's like a lot of those moments, because it is such a fog, like take pictures. I have so many pictures of me breastfeeding, Emerson, just like holding her and taking pictures for myself because they change. Yeah. One, they change so fast, and two, like you'll like want to remember because every day is so different and they change so much. You'll be like, what was it like back then again? And then those pictures they've helped me so much. I'm a freak, but I have so many breastfeeding pictures on my phone because they're like moments for me and her. And I love them. I love them so much.
I'm shocked how, cause you know, Jade, y'all asked me if I was going to breastfeed and I said, I don't know, I'll see. And part of it, I mean, it's super hard. But it wasn't even about that it was hard. I thought it was super weird that, like, a baby was sucking on your boob.
Totally.
I was like, ew, that's totally weird. Like, that seems off. But, like, when she does it, it seems so right that it's so, like, it's a mind flip because you love this baby and, like, you're giving her yourself, you know? And, like,
yeah, you don't realize how natural it actually is.
Yes. It's so different than I thought it would be or feel.
That's how I've felt about breastfeeding is I love it. Like, I think it's awesome. I hope I can do it, but it weirds me out. Like, I'm like, oh, totally. It's like, I don't know how I'm going to feel about this tiny thing just sucking on my boob, you know? So,
and I guarantee she or he will come out and you'll love it so much and you'll just want it to have the best healthy life. And you'll be like, this seems so natural.
Yeah.
Because of who you are. I'm not saying that for everyone, but
right, yeah.
Because of who you are spiritually, like, and how in tune you are, I guarantee you're just going to be like, yes, this feels so natural.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. For now, it's weird, though.
I felt like that a week and a half ago.
But Carly, so how Jade was saying before, her midwife was saying happy birthday to her. Like, happy birthday to you. Like, you gave birth and you're a mom. Welcome to motherhood.
Oh,
that is so exciting.
It's so wild.
You're
you
a
guys.
mom.
I know. It's real. I mean, it's super weird to think about.
Hashtag Still, mom
I'm
club.
And it's so funny too, because like, you know, I mean, obviously Bella wasn't planned. And now that she's here, like I'm so thankful that we had the accident that we had because she's like the biggest blessing that I've ever had. Like, I don't know how I would survive without her because she's already kind of glued our family a little bit together, and she's the other girl in the house with me. I feel like I already have like my little posse, you know, I have somebody to take care of that I can discipline as well. You know, I mean, it really is just already her being in the world has totally changed my life and made me feel like I'm in the right place in the right time, and everything that's happened up to this point was for her to arrive.
Do you feel like, okay, for me, even like a couple days after Emerson was born, I almost couldn't even imagine what my life was like before her. I'm like, how did I ever have a life before you? It feels like this is like where my life started. Do you feel that way?
I 100% feel that way. I mean, like, yeah, I can't go back to what it was because it's so good now.
Yeah.
It feels like, you know, it's complete. Oh, and I also remember us talking about like, do you want more kids? And it's so funny because Evan and I, like the second day after, you know, we get back from the hospital or something, she's just so cute. And Evan looks over at me and he's like, okay, maybe one more.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, maybe one more.
Okay, yeah.
I'm like, yeah, maybe. But it is so funny because, like, yeah, my pregnancy was, you know, I mean, relatively easy, but I was super nauseous and didn't feel good. But like, you do kind of already forget when they come out and they're so cute and you love them so much, and then you're like, okay, maybe I can do it one more time.
The baby high is like the most incredible feeling.
It really is. I mean, all of the people, like, also the pain pills are really good in the hospital. I was very nice to people, and I was very like when I finally got my phone out, I was like, oh yeah, I'll call you tomorrow. And I'm like, oh no, it's been a week and a half and I still haven't called you. I'm so sorry. That was the pain pill talking.
That's cute. Do you smell her head? Can I ask you that? Because I was like,
yes.
Isn't it the best smell ever?
It's the best smell. She smells so good.
Oh man.
Like it's like the puppy smell, the baby smell, and the puppy smell are the best smells that there ever were.
You guys, my ovaries are just like pounding over here. I'm getting like the worst baby fever right now.
I mean, it really is the best thing. The saddest thing is that Huck is having some trouble.
Oh man.
He sits in my lap while she lays on the boppy and nurses.
Yeah.
And I still tried to have him, like, he'll sleep between my legs, like, while she's, you know, sleeping next to me or whatever. So I'm trying to give him as much attention as possible, but it's hard because you have to keep a child alive while loving your dog, you know? So that's pretty sad. Yeah. But hopefully as it gets easier with her, it'll get back to like being easier with him, you know?
He'll adjust. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and we can't
Huck
wait.
is my dog, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. For people who don't know.
Huck is my dog.
But we're so excited for you to be sharing this journey with us and for you to hear like every week, like what's mom life been like this week and what's
the
going
milestones.
on. Yeah, we're so excited.
Yeah. Can I share my milestone this week?
Yes.
I wanted to share this on here. So, can you see Emmy? She's right here.
Yeah. She's so cute.
So she's been like making babbles and stuff, but this week she's been really using her consonants and she's been mimicking us. So Tanner and I were in bed the other night with Emerson hanging out, and he was making these noises and he kept going like da 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 da, and she was watching his mouth and you could see it literally in her brain ticking.
Oh my gosh.
That she was trying to do the same sound, and then all of a sudden she just goes, she's talking right now. She goes, da, da, da. We're like, oh my gosh, she knows how to say it. And we were like freaking out, and she kept just doing it and doing it. And yesterday, she specifically just goes, da, da.
Oh my gosh.
I know. And I'm like, I don't think she knows that that's him, but she is for sure saying it. And she knows just to go. I know, it's so cute. And she just knows how to go,
so cute.
Da, da. But
oh my gosh.
It's just amazing that they learn and pick up language. And she was so intently watching his mouth and trying to mimic him and then actually produced it.
That is so cool.
Do you just look at her and you're like, my baby's a genius?
Oh, yes. Oh, no, we do. We're like, she's so smart. She knows exactly what she's doing.
She is so smart. She's smart anyway, though.
Yeah.
That's so cute. Good job, Emmy.
She's really trying to reach for this mic. Can you see her?
Oh my gosh, yeah, she's so cute.
Yeah.
How much does she weigh now?
I'm not sure because she has her 6-month appointment coming up, but she's probably, I think, around 16 pounds. She's small.
Oh man.
Yeah.
How much did she weigh at birth too? I can't remember.
6 pounds, 8 ounces.
No way,
Yeah.
they're the same.
They're weight twins.
That's crazy. Aw, weight twins.
Weight twins.
But they were exact same weight. Though Emmy was 20 inches, so she was a little bit longer.
Oh, yeah.
She was like all skin and bones. She did not have the extra fat because she came early. So that was like our problem. Yeah, she was like,
oh, man.
She had so much loose skin.
Wow. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Like a little old lady.
Yes.
A little old woman.
Benjamin Button. Emerson Button. Emerson
I
Button
couldn't
is
watch-
a cute name.
That actually is really cute. I couldn't watch Benjamin Button before she was born because Evan wanted to watch it one day, and I was like, we can't watch that because it's freaking me out that she's going to come out and be an old man.
Oh my gosh.
Or an old woman.
That's so
It's
funny.
so funny. He's like, that's not going to happen. I'm like, I know, but it freaks me out.
I know, but maybe.
Yeah, that's
All right, you guys. Well, I think I actually have to run along because one, my left boob is swollen and engorged right now, and she needs to drink, and two, it's time for her to drink.
Okay.
And C, she needs to drink.
Well, thank you
Awesome.
for gracing us. I feel very honored to hear your birth story.
Yeah,
and
thank
I'm
you so
so
much.
glad I got to share it with you guys.
Yeah.
I know I was like, I have to save the projectile pee thing because it's like way too funny. No, I can't tell them anything yet.
that had to be included, right?
Like, oh, 100%. You know, somebody else out there is like, I did it too. Or someone's like, ew, why did you say that? Because it's real life.
Exactly. Well, like I said, we can't wait to hear more about your mom journey. And then both you and Jade, I'm sure, will have so much more in common now. And, you know.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm. So, but thank you so much. Thanks for sharing
Yeah.
everything. Welcome to Mom Life.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we
crazy.
will talk to you guys on our next episode. Don't forget to check out our Facebook page, Babe and Babies, and to share our podcast, subscribe to it, rate it, and if you want to follow our personal accounts, mine is eSandos on Instagram.
And mine is Jade Liz Roper.
And mine is Carly Wad.
All right. All right, we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
This podcast is brought to you by Wave Podcast Network. Check out all of our shows, including the Brain Candy Podcast, I Don't Get It, Babes and Babies, Coffee Convos, and Let's Talk About It.